Hello and welcome to Phase 2, Strategic Gaming's coverage on Survivor, the Pearl Islands. Friendly neighborhood Nerd King, Mac Taylor. And let's go ahead, let's get it started. Lots to talk about here with Pearl Islands. So like we said in the last installment, Sean did turn on Burton, trying to earn some favor with the tribe. Michelle feels on the outs. She feels isolated. And on the Morgan tribe, Rupert, he is helping them rebuild their shelter. He's catching fish. And everyone's very, very happy. While Austin's like, we didn't need him. We were doing just fine without him. Whereas, no, Rupert, Savage is like, hey, Rupert is a big commodity for the Morgan tribe here. He's going to help us out tremendously. Trish, she's concerned. She's like, is Rupert never going to come back? Did we lose Rupert? Did we lose our fish? And they go to a puzzle reward. Rupert will be playing with the Morgan tribe for shower supplies and, to loot. To loot the camp. So Morgan and Rupert win a reward. And he's offered either go with the Morgan tribe still or go back to the Drake tribe. Rupert skips the reward, gonna go, what he says, home to the Drake tribe. And Savage comes over to take something from the Drake tribe, and Rupert says, hey, take some rice. And Rupert says, I may be targeted because now I am kind of do have some favor with the Morgan tribe, and I'm in with the Drake tribe, and if I'm caught playing both sides, that's the end of me. So there is some self-awareness from Rupert, but it is cool that he's trying to get in with the Morgan tribe just in case, hey, if the Morgan tribe get the numbers, Rupert's probably not the first one to go. Savage likes strong people. And Austin. I wouldn't say Austin's a strong person. At least not strong-spirited. So we get the gross food challenge. Michelle's very confident. And she says, hey, I am great at eating gross foods. And they say, hey, why don't you act on, because someone's got to go twice, why don't you act like it's gross and you can hardly keep it down? That way they pick you, and then you just throw it down like a champ, and then we win. Well, it's Michelle's turn, and she just gulps it down like a champ at the first one. Apparently forgot that was supposed to be the second one to do that on. And then Sandra has trouble, so obviously they pick Sandra. So, Michelle fails her one and only job. You had one job. Fake the first time, do it the second time, not do it the first time. And it was your idea. So Morgan tribe wins immunity. Rupert now very wary of Sean. And he does want to keep Michelle. But the rest of the tribe's like, hey, no. Michelle fucked up. She's got to go, man. By a vote of 6-1, Michelle goes home, and it's her own fault. They probably would have voted out Sean, but he's strong, and Michelle had one job. She could have won them this immunity. Struggle to get the first one down, to act like it. You like it, apparently, but just deal with it, And then when they pick it a second time, throw it down like a champ. You're a hero. You probably won't go home for, you probably saved yourself. But now you put yourself in the hot seat. Terrible. Completely Michelle's fault that she went home there. And Rupert is upset over it. He didn't want to have to vote her out, but what is he going to do? And also, we threw that damn challenge. We lost our momentum, and now it's our own fault. And then Rupert has had this snake, Balboa, that he was trying to nurse back to health, and it dies. And Rupert is very sad, which, makes me very sad. Poor Balboa. Poor Snakey. And the Morgan tribe, they have an animal visitor, and a pelican. And Rhino loves the pelican. He's trying to talk to it. Austin's coming at it with a machete, like, oh, I hate that damn thing. I want to kill it. And Rhino's like, hey, don't be a dick, Austin. Right? You did the little baby. And Rupert now, he wants to raise the shelter. Sean's like, cool, I'm not going to do any work on it. And Johnny Fairplay and Sean, they get in this huge argument because John's like, hey, why are you not working? We kept you here for this shit. Don't be an asshole. And so Sean and Fairplay arguing a lot. We get a cannon reward, like shooting a cannon, which is awesome, to grill out some food. Drake wins. And John goes over to the Morgan tribe and takes the shampoo and also says, hey, we threw that challenge when we sent Burton home, so you guys were lucky we did that for you. Typical fair play fashion. He had to completely be a dick when he was over there at the Morgan tribe. So you get the endurance immunity where you're trying to peg weight on people to get them to crack on the 3 people, and it comes down to Savage and Krista. Ironically, Krista's holding a lot of weight. Krista's a beast. Savage does win this for the Morgan tribe. And Rupert's upset at Sean because not only has he been lazy, he was out of that challenge early, so then all the weight got put on Rupert and then subsequently Krista. Like, hey, man, what are you doing? Well, maybe if you guys hadn't lost that immunity, through that immunity, and you had Burton, it probably wouldn't have happened to you. But that wasn't Rupert's fault, so I'm just, kind of behind Rupert here on that you should have thrown that challenge. And Trish, she's kind of talking to Sandra and John like, hey, and Krista, we should turn on Rupert. We should get Rupert out. We're close to the merge. Let's go ahead and take Rupert out. Roll into the merge without that threat. Sandra immediately tells Rupert what Trish is saying. And Rupert's like, I can't believe she said that. Let's vote her out. She wants to turn on me. I'm going to turn right back. And so by a vote of 4-2, Trish voted out. And I mean, hey, she made a big move. She was trying to take Rupert out. Probably shouldn't have done it till the merge. Players like Rupert, Ozzy, Joey Amazing, you need till the merge. Cut them at the merge. So, Trish, she made a move. It didn't work. And because of it, she's gone. And the only other person around that wrote Rupert's name down is Johnny Fairplay. Johnny Fairplay thought this Trish move was going to work, not knowing that Sandra and Krista, not about that life. They were never going to turn on Rupert. Rupert is furious at John. He's like, I've been out here busting my ass to catch fish, and you're going to write my name down? How dare you? John's like, I'm on the bottom. I got to scramble my way back up here. I got to get in some position of power because Rupert is pissed, and I'm not in a good spot. Morgan, however, they're low on energy. They haven't been eating all of, they haven't had Rupert to feed them. Sean, still not working. Still not, definitely not contributing to the tribe. And then we get what may be one of the best twists in Survivor history, the Outcast twist. Everybody that's been voted out so far has gone to another place together where they became their own tribe, the Outcast tribe. And Ryan S. has a bandana on that says "Die Jerks," which is kind of funny here. And basically how this is going to work is they're going to compete against Drake and Morgan. If they beat one tribe, they get to vote one person back into the game. If they beat both tribes, they get to vote 2 people back into the game. If they beat no tribes, they're out. That's game. However, if Drake or Morgan lose, they will vote somebody out, and that person will basically trade places with the person voted back in. So it's like a jailbreak where you got to tie all the sticks together and hook the keys out. Reward and immunity. The Outcasts come in first place. So they will vote 2 people in. Morgan and Drake will vote someone out. And Savage is pissed. He's like, how dare they? They don't deserve to be in this game. These sons of bitches. Ryan S. doesn't even deserve to be on a fucking beach of Survivor. He's lame. You know, we are the people that have made it this far. How dare they show their faces? Whoever gets voted back in, we're going to vote them right back out. Like, just malicious. Very just, strong. Which I understand. If you've made it this far in the game, people coming back in, you're like, why do they deserve to be here? I didn't get voted out. And this is an argument that could be made in Survivor later, too, when we get, like, Redemption Island and Edge of Extinction. Do they deserve to come back? I have mixed feelings. I think if you're voted out early and you come back in later, that's I don't really think that's fair. But if you're voted out and like a round or 2 later you're back in, it's like, oh well, you were barely gone. But you were voted out. I don't think there really is a wrong answer. So Austin, he's like, hey, I want to go. Let's vote me out. And Drake Tribe, they're saying it's either going to be probably Sean or John. And Sean's like, hey, fair play is a 2-timer. You should probably vote him out. Well, they don't listen. And by a vote of 4-1, Sean is finally voted out. And basically, at the Morgan tribal, Austin's like, I want them to vote me out. Jeff's like, so are you quitting? He's like, yeah, I'm done. I can't do this. Jeff's like, okay. But unlike the people who were voted out, like Sean was just voted out, just torch is hanging up. You don't deserve it. I'm going to lay your torch on the ground. It's going to stay on the ground because you're a quitter. So Austin mercy killed or quit. So now the Outcast going to come vote somebody back into 2 people back into the game. Burton with the most votes voted back in the game. He did kind of win that challenge for them. Lil, second person, voted back into the game, which I think is a questionable choice. Would have it rather have been Michelle or Nicole or one of those people? And they're going back to their old tribes. Burton immediately, Drake's like, hey, welcome back. And then Rupert's like, hey, look, this is why I voted you out. I felt like you were bullying me. I've been bullied my whole life, and I just didn't want it around. And Burton says, hey, man, I'm sorry we had that miscommunication. So even though both are still a little wary of each other, nothing is perfectly mended. They are trying to get along. Whereas, the Morgan tribe, they're going to ignore Lil. They don't want Lil there. They would rather just vote Lil out next. And then Rupert tells Burton, hey, John's our target. And he's like, hey, my name's not John. That's awesome. Savage is now telling Lil he's not happy with her for coming back. And that's kind of a shitty thing to tell somebody who just came back into the game. And then he's like, we're just going to vote him out. And Lil's like, no, we're actually, both me and Burton are going to be safe. We're going to have immunity for the next one. And so, well, shit. That doesn't help. Savage, he's pissed, like, oh my god, they got 2 people came back in the game, didn't deserve it, and now one of us is going to go too? Like, we have 3 people, they get 3 freedoms? How dare they? Savage, still very upset. Rupert, Krista, and Burton talking about John, talking about wanting to vote him out. But it's time for a merge, and they are going to be called the Balboa Tribe in honor of everyone's little snaky snake. And they get the black buffs, which is cool. It's the first time we get the black buffs. Everybody loves to have the black merge color. It's a really cool buff color. So we get this like underwater lap immunity challenge. Comes down to Burton and Rupert. Burton winning immunity, even though he was already safe. Morgan, they want to target fair play. Drake, because we got 5-5. 5 Morgans, 5 Drakes. The Drake tribe says, hey, Lil, we hear Savage not too happy with you. You can come over here with us. We don't have a pecking order. And so Lil contemplates it, especially working with fair play. And Savage then's like, hey, no, Lil. We're sorry. Lil's like, hey, no, you said you were going to vote me out. Don't try to reel me back in. And Drake, they want Andrew Savage out. He's the leader. Cut the head off of the snake and the body will eventually die. And so at Tribal, Burton's going to give immunity to Rupert. Says, hey, I don't need it. Rupert got second place. Here you go. And by a vote of 6-4, Lil turning the tables, Andrew Savage, the last non-juror, voted out. Rough for Mr. Andrew Savage. Lil feels good here. She's like, oh, shoot. I'm going to take this time and I'm going to eulogize. Austin and Sean. Sean probably should have went out when Burton went out. I feel like Burton is a much more better... Take 2. I feel like Burton is a much better social and strategic player. He didn't get along with people. He didn't contribute. Kind of glad to see Sean go. And Austin, he quit. As far as I'm concerned, that's bottom barrel Survivor players. You're going to take a spot on the cast just to quit. How dare you? Get off my television screen, Austin. Piece of shit. That's my thoughts there. Final thoughts on Andrew Savage. I mean, he bled Morgan. He wanted to be the Morgan tribe. And since they didn't get the numbers, of course, he was the first one targeted. He was like the John Carroll. So Savage, he played a decent game, but he should not have outcasted Lil. He should have tried to bring Lil in, been nicer to Lil. Should have tried to make this Morgan versus Drake. Maybe get a tie vote and see what happens. He was way too headstrong, and that was, I think, the downfall of his game. So Lil feels pretty good. Other Morgans, Rhino, Tawana, and Dara, they're like, oh, man, we lost the numbers here. And Rhino is trying to tell Burton, hey, they voted you out once. They can vote you out again, buddy. Burton's like, yeah, totally, I know. I totally shouldn't trust them. And then it's like, yeah, fucking Rhino. Can you believe this asshole? Fair Play's like, yeah, what an idiot. Think he's going to reel you in. Rupert and Burton, they are getting the fish, feeding the troops. And we get a slingshot reward for breakfast. And Rupert wins, and he gives it to Burton. He's like, hey, you gave me immunity? I give you a reward. Burton takes Lil. Because Burton and John have now teamed up. And they want to target Rupert. So Burton is basically telling Lil, hey, Rupert's the target. You go with me in fair play. Go final 3. And Lil's like, yeah. And Burton's like, you got to act like we didn't have this conversation. Lil's like, okay, I will act like we're not friends. Like Lil is just going to do whatever Burton tells her to do. Because she feels close to Burton because they're both outcasts. So Sandra and Krista, they want, Burton kind of targeted soon. Sandra rallying the women. She's like, women need to work together. Tawana and Dara included. And at the camp, the Morgans are not as work ethic people because they're not happy they're going to go home. And we get the Q&A, cutting ropes immunity. Rhino's out, then Dara, then Tawana. That was obvious. Then Burton, John, Sandra, It comes down to Krista and Rupert. Rupert wins immunity. Krista wants to target Burton. John's like, no. Let's get Rhino out. Let's get a Morgan out. Fair Play's like, no. Don't look at my guy. Just look at the easy target. Do not look at me while I'm trying to make my moves against Rupert. So by a vote of 6-3, Rhino is gone because Rupert was safe. So final thoughts on Rhino. I thought he was a good player. I thought he was a lot better social player than Savage. He lost smarter. He was young. Was on the losing side of a pagonging, and, sad to see him go. Really liked Rhino. And with that ends Phase 2, Survivor Pearl Island. Stay tuned next time. We're going to go from 8 to 4. I'm going to talk about a lot of interesting things here on the Phase 3 of the Survivor Pearl Islands podcast. Again, my name is Mac Taylor. Y'all have a good night.